Mic test. Mic test. Microphone test. Mic test.
I know I've seen you around. I don't know if we've actually met. So I'm the clerk at the yes. So yeah.
Stream mic test. Mic test for the stream. Table mic check. Table mic check for the stream.
Make sure to
Okay, yeah.
So the color guard, when they come in, they're going to give a cue and they have to safely standing there, but you're not going to have to stand up. Things will be in place. So they're going to stand right there for now.
Well, yeah, good point. Thank you. Yes. From now until 5 o'clock, you can take all the photos you like. All right.
Please stand for the presentation of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh. Ready? Please. Present arms.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Those colors. Oh. Ready? Face. Forward. March.
Good afternoon. As a courtesy to all, please silence your cell phone or other devices. I left mine in the rubbing room so to make sure nothing would go off. This is a time set for the investiture of N.J. Becke as judge of the Arizona Court of Appeals Division 1. I am Randall Howe. I'm honored to serve as chief judge of the court. We are grateful to the judges and staff of the Yavapai County Superior Court that they invited us to have the investiture in this beautiful courtroom. We also want to thank Matt Martin, the clerk of our court, Tracy Randall, our Human Resources Director, and Heather Martin, Judge Scott's excellent judicial assistant for helping to coordinate the details of today's event. The Arizona Court of Appeals is one court divided into two divisions. Division 1, seated in Phoenix, handles all appellate matters in cases from the northern and western counties of Arizona, including this county, Yavapai. And Division 2, seated in Tucson, handles all appellate matters from the southern and eastern counties. Because we are one court, we sit together today with some of our colleagues from Division 2, and I will name them each and ask them to wave to be recognized. To my left is Vice Chief Judge David Wainwright. Behind me are Division 2 Vice Chief Judge Carl Epic, Division 1 Judges Michael Brown, Sam Thumma, Kate Haney, Jennifer Perkins, Tim Morris, David Goss, Cindy Bailey, Brian Ferruia, Angela Payton, Division 2 Judge Jeff Scar, Division 1 Judges Dan Kiley, Mike Catlett, Division 2 Judge Chris O'Neill, Division 1 Judges Annie Foster, Andrew Jacobs, and our newest judge, Veronica Fabian. We also have as part of the Court of Appeals, the clerk of the court for Division 1, Matt Martin, and clerk of court for Division 2, Lisa Howell. We have many honored guests here today that we'd like to recognize. If I forget anyone, that's on me. And know that we are honored to have you here, whether I name you or not. We have Arizona Supreme Court Chief Justice Ann Timmer, Justice Bill Montgomery, Justice Catherine King, Justice Maria Elena Cruz, as well as the Supreme Court Clerk of Court Aaron Nash. From the Yavapai Superior Court, we have Presiding Judge John Napper, Associate Presiding Judge Krista Carmen, and Judges Michael McGill, Henry Whitmer, Anna Young, Deborah Frayling, Christine Schaff Olsen, Linda Wallace, and Joseph Goldstein. We are also honored to have with us Prescott Mayor Phil Good and Mayor-elect Kathy Rusing, as well as Tom Collins, the Executive Director of the Arizona Citizens Clean Election Commission. We are privileged to have many retired justices and judges with us today. We have former Supreme Court Justice Robert Brooknell, former Supreme Court Chief Justice and my favorite professor in law school, Rebecca Birch, former Division 1 judges Jennifer Campbell and Patrick Irving. Seeing former colleagues adds a wonderful continuity to our proceedings. From the Arizona State Bar Board of Governors, we have Russell Dirksen, and from the Yavapai County Bar Association, Taylor Nelson and Josh Butler. We have saved for last the recognition of the most important guest here, Judge Beck's mother, Barney Beck, his brothers Michael and Jordan, his wife Patricia, and the sons Daniel and Ian. Let's give everyone a round of applause. Now let's get to the business of investing. Andrew Beckwith, judicial authority. Andrew, if you would come up to take the oath of office. It's administered by Chief Justice Birch.
Andrew, congratulations. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Andrew James Beck, do solemnly swear
I, Andrew James Beck, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of the office of Judge of the Arizona Court of Appeals, Division 1,
of the office of Judge of the Arizona Court of Appeals, Division 1,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Next, if Patricia, Daniel, and Ian will come forward to robe Judge Beck. Beck takes his seat as a judge of Division 1 of the Arizona Court of Appeals. And well, I guess before you sit down, we have a presentation from the State Bar.
Yes, for over 35 years, I've been coming into this room for various investitures, other events, hearings, and other notable occasions. This one's no exception. And as I walked around the corner, I saw the pictures of Yavapai County residents who have gone on to serve in the Court of Appeals and higher. So on behalf of the 25,000 members of the State Bar of Arizona, and in particular, those of us that practice in Yavapai County, it's our joy and our pleasure to present to you this gavel.
Now we will hear remarks from Judge Beck's son Daniel and Ian.
Good evening. I'm Daniel Andrews' oldest, arguably the better looking child. I want to start with congratulating you on accomplishing your dream job. It's what you set out to do. I've had the privilege of watching my father work since we first moved up here to Prescott. Whether it was at the office or at home, he loved being right, and especially proving why he was right. You've shown so much passion for the law. You've been determined and have worked incredibly hard. At least that's what I would think, seeing stacks of books and the files on his desk. I also want to recognize and celebrate the other job you've excelled at, which is being our father. The professional achievement is incredible, but it's not our full story. When you first started this path, the earliest memory I have of you, I was about 10 years old. And it was the first time I went to class or one of his law school classes. And also remembering that was my last time going to his law school classes. Your time up here as an attorney, I recognize there were some long and stressful days at the office where you could have worked on the weekends, but instead you still managed time for our soccer practices, weekend tournaments, family events, and also giving back to your community. Being able to excel in your career while also being a hands-on dad is an achievement in itself. And as you start this new chapter, know that your greatest accomplishment to me will always be the father you are. Thank you for being the man who has led by example. We are so incredibly proud of you. And once again, congratulations on achieving your dream.
You know, I think with there being as many people here today taking time out of their busy schedules to come celebrate my dad, pretty clearly corroborates the man he is. But I just kind of want to talk about my dad. You know, when I was 7 years old, my father encouraged me and my brother to play soccer. And I think that sort of, one, created an unhealthy obsession with the sport, but two, really kind of established a foundation for all of our friends, including the man who's going to be the best man at my wedding. And whether it came to legal procedure or Lord of the Rings or James Cameron's Aliens, he spoke with such a passion and veracity that you couldn't help but be interested in it. And that taught me to never be ashamed about what you like, no matter how quirky it might be, no matter how esoteric it could be. And, you know, I was a challenging child, but he handled my misjudgments and my adolescence with such grace and still made me take accountability for it that I will never be able to repay him with the guidance or the empathy and the compassion that he has been able to raise me and my brother with. And there were some arguments, but given his profession, my brother and I never really had a fighting chance. But I'm proud of my dad every day. I know my brother is as well. And I love him more than anything. Dad, congrats. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from Tom Collins.
Good afternoon. Oh. Good afternoon. Thank you, Chief Judge Howe, and all of the judges of the Court of Appeals and the justices that are here and the other judges and all the friends and family of Judge Beck. It's a privilege for me to stand here today to celebrate this investiture with you. Judge Beck is a man whose life and career embody the finest traditions of our state and our nation. Hard work, service, gratitude, and a steadfast commitment to the rule of law. Judge Beck's appreciation for this country and its institutions began long before he ever stepped in a courtroom. He's the first American-born member of his family. His parents came to the United States in 1973 and became proud U.S. citizens in the 1980s. As Judge Beck himself has described it, as both of my parents were not born Americans, but rather chose to be Americans, I was raised with a keen appreciation for the privileges and responsibilities of being an American. His mother, who's here, ran for a seat and won a seat on the local school board. And this idea of America is reinforced in Judge Beck's own family. Judge Beck's wife, Patricia, came to the United States and later became a citizen. And Judge Beck has spoken about the pride he felt standing beside her at her naturalization ceremony, a moment that echoed his parents' own journey decades before. Together, they built a family grounded in the same values that drew their families here: hard work, commitment to their community, and a belief in America's promise. These experiences give what I believe to be a profound appreciation on the part of Judge Beck, appreciation for what makes this country strong: our Constitution, our courts, the rule of law. As Judge Beck has written, I'm firmly committed to the rule of law in this country and believe that it forms one of the pillars of support our democracy. When trial and appellate courts are presided over by competent, professional, and experienced judges, it provides stability and predictability for Arizona citizens and businesses alike. In light of some of the turmoil in our country in the past few years, a competent and unbiased judiciary is more important than ever. And these words reflect not just a philosophy, but a lifetime of preparation. I first met Judge Beck when he served as a law clerk to then Vice Chief Justice Rebecca Birch, later Chief Justice. I was clerking for Justice Michael Ryan. And many of us came to our clerkship still finding our footing, but Judge Beck arrived already prepared, a lawyer in full command of the law, able to distill complex principles, focus on the key facts, and understand how appellate decisions affect real people. And with two sons who you've met, Judge Beck had a vision for his own future that involved returning to Yavapai County to raise his family and work with some of the great attorneys who've passed through these halls, abjuring the steel and glass filing cabinets of Phoenix for what a classicist might call the good life. And since then, he has built a distinguished career in private practice, handling cases from their first client meeting through trial and appeal. And he brings to the bench a sharp intellect, scholarship, and the practical wisdom of a lawyer who has stood before juries and judges. He has a profound understanding of the rules of evidence, which can only be gained as a working trial lawyer. As General Omar Bradley is said to have said, amateurs talk strategy, professionals talk logistics, or in the case of Judge Beck, admissibility. But no one was going to outwork Judge Beck, whether in motion practice, in trial, or on appeal. His reputation among his peers is impeccable as a counselor and advocate, and as a person of deep integrity. And to quote Good Will Hunting, Judge Beck is wicked smart. Judge Beck has given generously of his time, serving on the Supreme Court's Committee on Character and Fitness, the Rules of Evidence Committee, coaching winning high school mock trial teams, his involvement in youth soccer, and providing countless hours of pro bono service. His colleagues know him as someone who takes the profession's ethical obligations seriously and leads by example. As a solo practitioner, Judge Beck has taken pro bono civil cases to trial because the client had a winning case. He regularly took hardship cases for persons needing guardianships and other activities, living out a commitment to access to justice. And at the heart of all this is a deep and abiding love for the law itself. In Judge Beck's own words, I simply love the law in general and appellate practice in particular. For many years now, I have begun my workday by reading every opinion issued by the Arizona Court of Appeals and Supreme Court. Even the opinions that are totally outside of my practice area remain fascinating to me. No one was going to outwork Judge Beck. And that devotion to learning, to fairness, to excellence is what defines him. Those who appear before Judge Beck will find a jurist who listens carefully, reasons clearly, and decides faithfully, always grounded in the text of the law and the facts of the case. Justice David Souter, in his famous 2010 address to the Harvard commencement in the context of constitutional judgment, said, "In an indeterminate world I cannot control, it is still possible to live fully in the trust that a way will be found leading through the uncertain future. If we cannot share every intellectual assumption that formed the minds of those who framed the Constitution, we can still address the uncertainties in ways they must have envisioned, by relying on reason, by respecting all the words that the framers wrote, by facing facts, and by seeking to understand their meaning for living people. This is how a judge lives," Justice Souter said, "in a state of trust." And he said, "I know of no other way to make good on the aspirations that tell us who we are and who we mean to be as the people of the United States." And so at a time when faith in institutions can waver, Judge Beck reminds us of what enduring public trust looks like: humility, discipline, compassion, and fidelity to the law. Arizona is well served today. The Court of Appeals is gaining not only a brilliant legal mind, but a man of character, gratitude, and an unwavering commitment to justice. And so I congratulate my friend, Judge Andrew Beck.
Very much. It's a bedrock principle of due process that both sides need to be heard from. So now I am turning over to Judge Beck for rebuttal.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Today is about recognition, but I'd like to start by recognizing a big life accomplishment that someone else achieved today. Emily, would you stand up, please? This is one of my law clerks, Emily Seitz, and she found out a few hours ago that she passed the bar exam. Thank you all for being here today. This is immensely humbling. I want to thank all of my new colleagues on the court for being here today. I want to thank Matt, Tracy, Carlos, and Heather for their hard work in making this day happen. I'm a proud product of Yavapai County. I'm a proud product of Arizona Public Schools. My mother, Bonnie, who's here today, and my father, Dr. Ian Beck, moved to Cottonwood in 1979 when I was 5 years old. My father practiced medicine in the Verde Valley Medical Center, and for many years, my brothers and I attended public schools. First, at the Cottonwood Oak Creek School District, where in the 4th grade, I met my longest friend, Zach Glazer, who could be here today. Later, I attended Mingus Union High School in Cottonwood. Then I went off to college, first at the University of Arizona. Then I transferred to Northern Arizona University, where I eventually got my degree. During that time, I met my beautiful wife, Patty, who has somehow endured being married to me for the last 27 years. We left Arizona for a few years after I graduated from NAU, but we came back when I was admitted to law school at ASU, completing the trifecta of attending all 3 Arizona public schools. The director of admissions at ASU Law was the late and great Professor Michael Birch, who took a chance on a non-traditional student who was married with 2 kids. And when I graduated from law school, another Birch took a chance on me. I was lucky enough to be hired as a law clerk by Justice Rebecca White Birch, to whom I am extremely grateful. And thank you for being here today. At that time, there were only 5 justices on the Arizona Supreme Court, each of whom had 2 law clerks. And I'm proud that of the 10 of us, 6 of our clerkship class could be here today. Justice Kate King, Mark Leitner, Judge Jeff Sklar, who's sitting behind me, Tom Collins, who you just heard from, Kathy Brody, and Betsy Lamb. And once that year was done, we returned to Yavapai County to raise our children here in Prescott. I had the honor of practicing here with some of the finest lawyers Arizona has to offer. Mike Murphy, Bob Schmidt, Milt Hathaway, Dan Wilson, Cal Fuchs, and Selmer Ludi. On the very first day I practiced law, I was paired with the finest legal assistant any lawyer could want. Christy Keller-Halls, who is here today. She was my legal assistant on the first day I practiced law, and she was my legal assistant on the last day I practiced law 17 years later. It was an honor working with you, Christy. For the last 17 years, I've had the honor of practicing before the Yavapai County Superior Court, before some of the finest judges that Arizona has to offer. And I'm humbled that so many of them were able to be here today. Judge Henry Whitmer, Judge Joseph Goldstein, Judge Deborah Phelan, Judge Mike McGill, Judge Anna Young, Judge Linda Wallace, who I had the honor of trying my last case before, Judge Christine Schaff Olson, my former law partner and a good friend, Associate Presiding Judge Krista Carmen, who I had the honor of practicing law with, but mostly against, before she went on the bench. And last, but most certainly not least, Presiding Judge John Napper. Trying a case before Judge Napper was one of the highlights of my career. John Napper is an esteemed jurist and an astute legal mind. My respect and affection for Judge Napper is equaled only by my respect and affection for his better half, Judge Angela Napper, whom I sought out for guidance on countless occasions in my legal career. Yavapai County has a rich tradition of providing judges to our appellate courts. In fact, one of the first Supreme Court justices, one of the original three, Justice Henry Ross, was a former Yavapai County attorney. He served on the Arizona Supreme Court from statehood in 1912 until 1945. He was replaced by Justice Joseph Morgan, another former Yavapai County attorney, and served until 1947. Then Yavapai County had to wait a little bit for us to have another Supreme Court justice. 63 years later, I'm very happy to have Justice Robert Brutnell with us today, who was appointed to the Yavapai County bench in 2010 from the Yavapai County Superior Court. One of my very first oral arguments as a lawyer was in this courtroom in front of then Judge Brutnell. The Court of Appeals also has a rich tradition of Yavapai County judges. Judge Ino Jacobson, another former Yavapai County attorney, served on the court for 26 years. Judge Jack Ogg, both a Yavapai County attorney and a Yavapai County Superior Court judge. Judge Phil Tosi, a former partner in the same law firm where I practiced for many years. Judge Jim Salt, a former Yavapai County Superior Court judge. Judge Kenton Jones, another former Yavapai County Superior Court judge, and Jennifer Campbell, a former Yavapai County Superior Court judge, who I'm happy to see here today. I'm deeply honored to be carrying the mantle for Yavapai County, and I hope that I will not be the only one for long. Finally, I want to thank my family. My mother, Bonnie Beck, for her endless patience in raising me. My only regret in all of this is that my father, Dr. Ian Beck, did not live to be here today, but I know that he would be proud. To my brother, Michael, and my brother, Jordan, and his wife, Fuji, thank you for making the trip to be here today. To my wife, Patty, my best friend. To my son, Daniel, and his wife, Addie, who recently gave us our first grandchild, Sienna, who you may have heard from a little bit earlier. To my son, Ian, and his fiancee, Sadie, whose wedding we are very much looking forward to in the coming year. I love you all, and thank you. It's an honor to stand before each and every one of you today. Thank you so much for being here.
as judges on the Court of Appeals, we deal with very serious cases, and it's always heartwarming to have a ceremony like this to celebrate someone's success and their integration into the court system. With that, thank you all for being here to celebrate the addition of our new judge Beck to our bench. We stand adjourned. Thank you for being here. You can all come up. We're very informal now.